The largest megaprojects never finished. Do you have any idea how much money has been wasted on megaprojects that never came to fruition? The number would probably shock you, especially when you find out what some of them were. Countries all over the world are always looking to increase their infrastructure and tourism. But sometimes, these ideas become wildly bloated, mismanaged, and ultimately fail. These are the largest megaprojects that were never finished. Shenyang International Project. China is one of the biggest powers in the world, and most of that has happened in the last 30 years or so. In fact, it's the country that has transformed the most in the world over that time. There have been a wide array of megaprojects that have been completed in the name of boosting the country's already impressive economy, and the country has become one of the leaders of infrastructure in the world. However, China is also exceptionally talented at turning its cities into empty wastes of space with no population. An example of this is located in the Hubei province, where an international project was taking place at the start of the last decade. The development was intended to be divided into two residential and entertainment districts, with European-inspired buildings, bridges, and huge shopping and parking complexes. Unfortunately, the speedy development hit a brick wall in 2014, when the real estate company responsible for the development began to be investigated for corruption, something else for which China is famous, and the property prices went into freefall. As a result, the company went bankrupt, and the project was seized by the authorities in 2017 with no announcement of further development ever since. As a result, the billions invested have all been lost as the buildings deteriorate and animals roam the streets. The only people who ever visit it now are photographers who want to chronicle the disaster. Number 2. Doha Sharuk Crossing. Qatar is a country on the rise, and were given the rights to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Unfortunately, there was plenty of controversy surrounding this, and pressure for an inquiry resulted in the resignations and firings of several FIFA officials. One of the projects unveiled in 2013 was the Doha Sharuk Crossing, a 12-kilometer crossing of 3 bridges interconnected by long underwater tunnels. The crossing was expected to be able to host 6,000 vehicles every hour, creating rapid transportation between the West Bay and the airport. The project was expected to cost $12 billion, but after just 2 years, it all came screeching to a stop. The overly burdened construction sector was one reason given for the delays, but also the rapidly increasing population meant it became more important to build residential properties. This meant that the government axed any non-essential mega projects, including the Sharuk Crossing. The project was revisited in December of 2019, and Qatar's Work Authority invited contractors to brief them on the plans to restart the crossing project. However, the schedule for the project to restart was decided and it would be kicking back off in 2021. With so much still left to do, however, there's very little chance that it'll be ready by November, which is when the World Cup is set to take place in 2022. It doesn't even seem as though it would be finished by the end of 2023 if it is actually allowed to complete this time. Number 3. Ryugyong Hotel. This one's very interesting because it's in North Korea, a country which infamously keeps its borders locked tight and the population firmly inside them. It was unexpected then when the country suddenly decided to announce plans to accommodate thousands of foreign tourists into its lands. A 105-story pyramid-shaped hotel was conceived in the 1980s to be built as a major tourist attraction, possibly because of the country's intense rivalry with South Korea. South Korea is an emerging capitalist democracy, while North is a communist regime, and a South Korean firm had just built the world's tallest hotel in Singapore. North Korea wanted simply to rob South Korea of that accomplishment, and so they secured financial backing from Russia to begin. A 330-meter pyramid-shaped hotel with 3 wings was the design, and it would offer panoramic views of the Pyongyang region, but it never happened. The end of the Soviet Union in 1991 meant that the funding was ended, and after 10 years, the building stood for a long time as the world's largest unoccupied building. now used to display the government's propaganda messages to its marginalized and dominated people. An estimate says it would cost a couple of $1 billion to complete, but that's too much for the country to afford. Number 4. London Garden Bridge. London has a few bridges, but the city had planned to build a bridge that would have served as a floating garden. The project was first lobbied for by British actress Joanna Lumley, who said that a garden bridge would be a great idea, and it would be very close to the Temple London Underground stop, connecting it to the South Bank. It was supposed to be open for 18 hours a day and would be able to accommodate 3 million visitors per year. It was also supposed to be funded privately so as to not use taxpayer money. However, the project that was once estimated to be about $85 million blew up to $260 million, and that the 85 would in fact have to come from public funds. The public and journalists were, for once, on the same page, and a huge outcry halted the extravagant project, chiefly because it was not even necessary for the city. The project was officially scrapped in 2017, as the review committee decided it would be better to cut losses than proceed with the bloated project. Unfortunately, $60 million had already been paid to the contractor as part of the contract, and another $12.5 million went on designers. It was supposed to be a present for London, but its lack of transparency turned it into a planning and logistical nightmare that cost millions for literally nothing in the end. Number 5. Golden Finance 117. Our last mega project gone spectacularly wrong brings us back once again to China, where one of the tallest skyscrapers in the world sits, unfinished and unpopulated. This, of course, the Golden Finance 117 project, construction on which began in 2008, with a view to completing it in 2014. It was supposed to surpass even the Shanghai Tower, to take its place as the second tallest building in the world, after the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, which of course remains the number one. The final beam was placed, topping out the 597-meter building's construction in 2015. But then the developer behind the project suddenly was reported as having gone bankrupt, with the construction suspended. In 2018, the construction effort was brought back up, but unfortunately, that never happened, and the project has been abandoned since that time. As of now, no one occupies the building, making it another contender for the Guinness World Record, but it has had a few occupants over the years. Inasmuch as back in 2016, a Russian couple, Ivan Birkus and Angela Nicolau, managed to climb to the top of the structure using stairs rather than the crane. And this led to a viral video with almost 900,000 views. An order from Beijing in April 2020 probably put the entire thing to rest though, as they banned skyscrapers over 500 meters tall, meaning this one will almost certainly never see completion. What do you think about all these projects? Do you know any more? Shout them out in the comments section below. After hitting that like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and check out these other fantastic videos